皆様こんにちは、またリンですと
안녕하세요. 저는 맥사라입니다.
In English that would mean hi guys, I'm Erin and this
Is Sarah?
she is a guest speaker
Yes, I
slash
am.
old friend. So today we're kind of collaborating because we both had a very similar experience. Hers lasted a bit longer though. Basically, we both had a study abroad experience in, well, respectively, Japan and Korea.
Yes. South Korea.
South Korea. People always ask me that. I'm like, oh yeah, my friend Sarah, she's in Korea. North Korea?
No. You can't go to North Korea as an
Sorry
exchange
guys,
student.
hate to
You
bust your
can't.
dreams. Today we're just here to, I guess, talk about our experiences and compare and contrast, I guess, because there were definitely similarities and, well, differences.
Yeah.
And we're
sure.
gonna use notes. Just heads up, we're kind of cheating because we are awkward and easily distracted.
Believe it or not, almost everyone on YouTube does this. Don't let them lie to you. They don't all know what they're talking about. They use notes.
Pretty sure they rehearsed. じゃあ、始めましょうね. Say that in Korean.
I don't know
How
what
do
you
you?
said.
Oh, let's start. I'm sorry.
시작하겠습니다.
Alright. As we mentioned before, we've been friends for a while, I guess since the beginning of high school for me and middle school for you, sort of.
Yeah, we've been friends for like a good 3.5 years.
Yeah, 3 or 4.
And we lived near each other.
Yeah,
For
we
a lot
didn't
longer than
know.
that without knowing it.
But our stories are actually pretty similar, and that's kind of what drew us together. There is this tiny southern town somewhere on the East Coast. What are population? Maybe 1,000, a couple thousand.
Yeah, 1,000.
And we're not going to disclose names just because it's the internet and it's kind of a scary place.
We live in West Dakota, so
We both had this sort of fixation on Asian cultures, even when we were kids, right? I mean, for
Yeah.
you it started pretty early, right?
yeah, I don't know. I grew up in Maine, where really there isn't much diversity at all, at least in my town. So when I moved to West Dakota, I was just shocked by all these different groups of people everywhere, and for some reason I was really interested in the Asian cultures from the start. I would like eat scrambled eggs with chopsticks. Yeah, I took taekwondo briefly when I was in the 2nd grade. But then my family moved and I stopped, and then I started again. And that's how I really became interested specifically in Korean culture.
It's basically my story's about the same. I was born in North Carolina, but my family decided it was time to move to West Dakota. And I also lived in a small town basically my whole life because I lived in Asheville, North Carolina, which is this little secluded mountainous area. Very beautiful, but at least I was a kid, so I mean, maybe I just didn't meet enough people, but not very diverse. So we moved to West Dakota, this place called Basket Blue, and
It's a real place.
yes.
Go there.
This place called Basket Blue, and again, small town, not very diverse. I took karate, Ishinryu karate, when I was in middle school, just because my mom thought, oh well, my kids should do something athletic, and we weren't doing so well in soccer, and you know, I had to learn to count in Japanese. Of course, we butchered the pronunciation. So, you know, and eventually we met, and oh, I want to go to Japan!
I want to go to Korea.
OMG, we should be friends!
Yeah.
So, for starters, where we went, I think I've pretty much said this before, but for a month of the previous summer, I was in Nippori, Tokyo, which is a pretty urban area, you know, it's not super crowded, it was very comfortable, I liked it, and
I was in Jeonju-si in South Korea. It's like on the southwestern side of the peninsula, and it's a large-ish city, at least to me. It was humongous, about 600,000 people. They're very famous for their bibimbap, which is a mixed rice dish, and it's really good if you ever have the chance to try it. But I was really fortunate because I got to really experience kind of traditional Korean life, as opposed to Seoul, where everything is very urbanized, westernized, there's a lot of foreigners, or comparatively. So, but I had a really great experience. I'm very grateful to have had my exchange year. Alright, so Erin, what first jumped out at you when you deplaned in Tokyo?
well, when I deplaned, it was actually almost kind of an experience from while I was on my last flight, which was from Fort Worth to Tokyo, I guess to Narita Airport. You know, I was obviously too excited to really think about what I would have to do when I got off the plane, And
Yeah.
I would have had no idea where to go if it hadn't been for the family that sat both beside and in front of me. They were the native Japanese family, and we had talked, I guess, for the last hour of our flight when we were, landing. But my seatmate's mother, she kind of just took the lead, and they went out of their way. I mean, I'm certain that they were jet lagged and tired, and, they had a ton of their own stuff to do and luggage to carry, but they went out of their way to lead me to where I needed to be as a foreigner coming in for the first time. And they not only did that, but even after we should have parted ways after customs, they told me where the best spot to get my luggage and the best spot to pick up a taxi. It was just one of those acts of random kindness that totally went above and beyond anything I was expecting. And what really leaped out at me was that's basically every time I was lost, I had an experience like that. So it's like the Japanese culture.
In Korea, you'll have experiences like that as well. But, something different that jumped out at me was just the fashion sense of everyone that I saw. Everyone in Korea is just so well dressed. I felt like an American slob, like showing up in my sweatpants and my pajama shirt. I was like, yeah.
On the topic of fashion statements, in Korea, while you were over at my house this weekend, you mentioned something that I kind of, had to double take for couples matching.
Yes, in Korea, I thought this was just an Asian thing, but I guess it's just a Korean thing.
Yeah.
Couples will wear these things called couple tee, which is literally what it sounds like, couple t-shirts, and they'll be exactly the same, but lately, Koreans have been going above and beyond the couple tee, and they'll wear head to toe matching gear, matching cell phones sometimes.
Wow.
I mean, this is a big investment.
It's like a cosplay, only what if you break up?
Yeah, that's a lot of money. I've seen people with matching North Face jackets, matching bathing suits, matching sneakers, matching handphones, cell phones. It's handphone. It's like
really?
cell phone in Korea. Yeah, that was weird. But it's just like I admire their dedication. I really do, because that's.
But again, what if you break up? And I hate to be that downer. I don't want to be that pessimistic person. But seriously, what's it?
I don't know. That would be terrible.
Would you just give your clothes to your ex in hopes that they could pass it on to their next?
That's so weird. Oh, I would never do that.
Anyway,
but,
so
I mean, Korea is a great place to date if you can date, but if you're an exchange student like me and you're going to an all-girls high school, then it can be kind of lonely. So I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna get a boyfriend.
Do it. Get. Was it? Kapuruti? Kapuruti. Yeah. Like she said, maybe again. I mean, I went all around Tokyo. I was going from Shinjuku to Shibuya to Akihabara. I didn't see that. Maybe I'm just not looking in the right places, but it does seem to be something that you can find solely in Korea. I mean,
you can, and you don't have to look hard. It'll jump out at you immediately.
It's crazy. On a more happy topic, let's discuss something that is always vital and important to assimilate into your daily living when you go to a foreign country. Food. Food is so important, always. When I was in Japan, I think the one unpleasant meal experience that I had was, I can't remember the name of the dish, but I thought it was a pasta dish, which was odd because the only pasta that I saw was ramen, and that's kind of more of a soup. This looked, honest to God, pasta dish. Big old noodles. They were kind of grayish. I just figured they were wheat. So I picked it up with my chopsticks, and I put it in my mouth, and I chomped down, and it was a fish cake. It was a very fishy tasting, very slimy feeling fish cake. And of course, I was surrounded by my Japanese friends, so I kind of ate seconds. And I'm pretty good at choking stuff down, but really that was the only bad experience I had, and that was because I dislike spicy food. In Japan, you don't really find spicy food. I mean, they're kare rice, which they have a medium and a hot setting. The hot setting is so not hot at all. I had a couple servings of that on various occasions.
Everyone tells me that Korean food is really spicy. I don't know. I guess I have a really high tolerance for spicy food, because I just thought it was good and I would just eat it. But everyone was always amazed at my blazing tongue. Kimchi and other Korean foods are famous for being really spicy.
They are spicy.
But it's really good for you. And I really enjoyed my culinary experience. There's this one time, keep in mind, this is like a week after I got there, okay? I was living with a host family that owned a restaurant, and my host dad was having a special dinner for all the people who worked at the restaurant, and I was invited too, because, you know, I was their daughter. And lo and behold, they served octopus.
Oh.
Not only was it octopus, which was already kind of foreign, but it was alive.
Alive?
Moving.
Okay.
In the pot.
Are you sure it was alive? Or
It
did they
was
cut
alive.
Wow.
Trust me.
Wow. Did you eat it?
I did.
How did it taste?
Like rubber.
Like moving rubber.
Like, oh, God. Like, it was, like, they cut it off, and then I was on my chopsticks, and it was like,
negative food experiences are
Turned
gonna
me-
happen to you.
turned me off from
Yeah.
octopus forever. And, like, we would have octopus type stuff at school sometimes, and I'd be like, nope, no, I can't. No, it was awful. It was awful.
On the topic of cultural hazing, let's talk about the public baths. You and I had, while from what we've told each other, the public baths themselves are quite similar. Our introduction to them, respectively, quite different. Wouldn't you agree? Do tell your little escapade into the public baths in the middle of December.
Well, I've been having a really bad day, and my host mom wanted to do something to cheer me up, so she told me, my host sister, that we were leaving at like 10 o'clock at night. This is in the middle of December, it's freezing cold out, and I'm just like, okay, let's go, and not knowing where we're going. And she turns around, she's like, you, naked, no clothes, what? You get naked. I was like, what? I was just like, I hope I misheard that. And then we get to this bathhouse, and
Naked, no clothes.
And I was the only foreigner. And if you've ever been to Asia and you go outside of like the main tourist areas, you get stared at quite a bit
With your clothes on.
with your clothes on. And I was naked. So I kind of hid in the cold water section where no one else wanted to be.
Which is very cold.
It's
in the middle
cold.
of
It was like
December.
32 degrees.
Yes, they have a
okay?
32-degree bath. It's for when you're overheated.
Yeah, and I was in there for a good 2 hours, just like hiding.
My bath experience was enjoyable. We planned to go. My friends and I, it was a group of us, a group of girls. Most of us were European. I think I was the only American. We found this awesome resort, and it was this big. It was modeled to look like a traditional bathhouse. Took the free shuttle there, and we got in. And there was this awkward moment where we had taken our clothes off and put only the yukata on, and we got to the locker room where you're just supposed to be like, no clothes, and everyone, just walking around naked, not caring. And the lady gave us a big towel to put in our temporary lockers, and then she gave us a little towel, which I think about this wide, about maybe this tall.
I did not get a towel.
Well, it wouldn't have done you much good. We tried so hard to cover, but it just... Anyway, so we just kind of had to go 3, 2, 1, getting naked, okay, don't look, but by the end of maybe 10 minutes, we were pretty used to it.
Whatever.
And you had to shower off before you went in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had these little shower stations where you had shampoo and soap and little shower spigot, and and there were different bathtubs with different temperatures. Because we were a group of foreigners, while yes, we were the only foreigners in the bathhouse, we also didn't have to feel the brunt of the stairs individually on our own, unlike